We had a gut feeling about him that he was definitely going to cause some trouble, but causing trouble means not paying your bill. It doesn't mean stabbing two people. They had no idea he was even there, and he just pulled the knife out of his pocket. He stabbed one girl in the back, and then her sister was getting up to run away, and he stabbed her in the thigh.
All right, guys, so we got to go back to Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff World, okay? New York City. I just did a video earlier today about New York City, and I had to do another video about New York City because apparently New York City is a dangerous place, right? It's a very dangerous place, and there are some people who don't know that New York City is a dangerous place. They must be living under a rock, okay? Because you have people that were shocked, okay? They were shocked to see two girls, unfortunately, get stabbed while eating at a restaurant in a subway terminal. Now, this terminal was Grand Central Terminal in New York City, and some lunatic decided to stab these girls because apparently he's one, crazy, and two, a racist, right? Because allegedly this person was shouting anti-white threats. Essentially, he was saying that he wanted all white people dead in the subway terminal as he was committing this attack. And I want to talk about this because, of course, the mainstream media is trying to essentially cover up what I believe is a racially motivated hate crime, according to the left's definition of a hate crime. But here's the kicker. The victims, the teenage girls that this lunatic stabbed, weren't white. They were actually travelers, I guess visitors from South America. Take a look.
Crazy. That's wild.
It was supposed to be a holiday experience eating inside Grand Central Terminal on Christmas Day, but two teenage girls, ages 14 and 16, got more than what they bargained for, becoming victims of random violence while eating here at Tartanary with their parents. Police say Stephen Hutcherson was at the restaurant too. He was not ordering food. He apparently got into an argument with staff, so they asked him to leave. And that's when he allegedly took out his frustration on the girls, stabbing one in the thigh and one in the back. The girls and their family are visiting from South America. This family is from South America too.
And I can't believe that, especially in this city, that I read that is very safety, and that's, I don't know, it's like shocked me.
Mayor Eric Adams says overall subway crime is down, but
and anytime you have incidents in these high-profile locations, it sends the feeling of, people don't feel safe, and that's why we have to make sure we, zero in, make the arrest as soon as possible, and make sure we get those repeated offenders off our streets.
Hutcherson is known to MTA police and the NYPD with at least 17 prior arrests. Just last week, Hutcherson allegedly threatened a man in Harlem saying he had a gun.
I think it's a big problem in New York that a lot of mentally ill people are walking around. And I think it's horrible what happened to that family.
Grand Central Terminal is not only one of the largest transportation hubs in the country, but it's also a tourist attraction with shops and restaurants. So hearing about what happened to the teens is very concerning.
We do not want to give that kind of image to people to come visit here.
The suspect faces serious charges, including attempted murder and assault as a hate crime. As far as those teenagers, well, they are expected to be okay.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, how the local media covered this story, despite the information that has been readily available for some time now about possible motivations behind why this happened, is shameful, right? And it's everything wrong with our media and why our media is so overtly biased towards the left, okay? Because again, this information has been out. It's been confirmed by authorities. Sources say that this guy shouted, quote, "I want all white people dead" on Christmas, right? "I want all white people dead." This is what he shouted. But yet, the news media didn't feel the need to report on that, right? To mention that, hey, this is what this suspect allegedly said before the stabbing. No, they don't feel the need to mention that. All they mention is, hey, it's a vague hate investigation, right? And this is pretty par for the course across of all of the local news, especially when it comes to the video coverage, is that they tend to leave out what the guy allegedly said. Okay, racial slurs, etc. These are things that he said before he attacked these people. Now, this guy, apparently not too smart, or who knows, maybe he got confused, okay? He thought that the teenage girls were actually American whites, okay, when they in fact were from South America. And I guess there's people in South America that look very white, so who knows? He may have been confused. But it seems to me that at the very least, it is worth mentioning that this person shouted, "I want all white people dead," because we know that if the roles were reversed, if this were a white person that shouted, "I want all black people dead," or "I want all Latinos dead," or "I want all immigrants dead," and then they went and stabbed somebody afterwards, the mainstream media, the media would make sure that you know. That's the first thing that you would know. Racially motivated hate crime. White guy screams, "I want blank dead," right? This is what they would say. We know that's what they would be talking. That's the main thing they'd be talking about. And what I find to be so fascinating about this is that, CNN, MSNBC, they haven't even covered this yet. They haven't even got to the story yet. Now, of course, they will cover it, right? Which means they'll write a one-page article about it and keep it moving. But there's not going to be wall-to-wall-to-wall coverage like there would be if the roles were reversed. Again, tells you everything you need to know about the media. Tells you everything you need to know. Again, this is disturbing, right? Extremely disturbing for multiple reasons, not just because of how the media covered it, but because this situation has all the same common denominators as a lot of these incidents that happen in these liberal cities, which you had a career criminal who should have been jailed, should have been institutionalized, should not be on the streets. He's on the streets until eventually he ends up almost killing somebody, right? Because that's kind of what happens, right? You continue to catch and release these violent criminals, these people that have proven to be violent, that have proven that, hey, they don't have the mental capacity to actually continue to be a part of society, right? They can't do it. But yet you continue to just let them out on the streets until it's too late and somebody loses their life, right? Which is almost what happened here. So let's read about this because, again, the mainstream liberal media decided to leave this part of the story out for whatever reason. A troubled vagrant randomly stabbing two teenage girls enjoying a Christmas morning meal with their parents at a Grand Central Terminal restaurant after ranting that he wanted, quote, all white people dead, authorities said. Yeah, so apparently, again, I don't know why anybody would live in these liberal cities, because if you are in New York City, you can't go to New York City, you can't visit New York City without worrying about a pro-Palestinian protest getting violent and them trying to cancel Christmas. Okay, you got to worry about riots, left-wing riots, and then you also got to worry about getting stabbed by random lunatics as well too. Again, why anybody would want to visit this city for a holiday, for a vacation, I have no clue, right? I have no clue whatsoever. The girls, 14 to 16-year-olds, visiting from South America, were attacked at Tartary in the Grand Central Dining Concourse around 11:25 a.m. Monday and suffered non-life-threatening stab wounds, police and sources said. Quote, I want all white people dead, the suspect, Stephen Hutcherson, 36, allegedly yelled, according to police sources. I want to sit next to the C words. Okay, so this guy's a flaming racist, right? He's a flaming racist as well, too. Again, something that if the roles were reversed here, if he had said the N word and was a white man, this would be wall to wall, right? And you know, because this is a very slow news day. It's around the holidays, right? I'm making 3 videos a day now because I just ain't got news to cover, right? I ain't got stuff to talk about, right? So, hey, I only can make 3 videos. Now, today I'll probably get more than that out, but I'm just saying it's a slow news day. Trust me. So, again, you would think that the mainstream liberal media, since they care about hate and racism so much, they would pick up on this, right? They would pick up on this story and run with it. But again, they're not going to, despite the slow news day, because once again, it doesn't fit the narrative. He then allegedly lunged at the unsuspecting teens, plunging a knife into the 16-year-old's back, nicking her lungs, and stabbing the younger girl in the thigh, police and law enforcement said. Hutcherson, who cops and sources said has a slew of prior arrests and a history of mental health issues, had gotten into a fight with restaurant staffers who were trying to kick him out of the eatery shortly before he allegedly went on his rant and attack. Yeah, so again, they're going to try to say that, you know, this guy was mentally ill and that's why it happened. And that will be the reason that they dropped the hate crime charges, right? They'll say, well, it's not a hate attack because the guy was mentally ill. Again, it's amazing how they love to run to the mental illness defense, right? When the narrative doesn't fit. But when the narrative does fit, no, you can't use mental illness, right? You can't say that a white man that, commits a mass shooting that appears to be racially motivated, regardless of whether or not the mainstream liberal media has actually confirmed that it was racially motivated, right? If a white man happens to commit a mass shooting and the victims are of another race, okay, you have to say it's racist. The guy is a racist, and you got to ban all guns, right? This is what they say. It's racist. You got to ban all guns. What you can't say is that, well, the person was mentally ill, right? You can't say that, okay? You can't say that. But when it comes to a situation like this that doesn't fit the narrative, all of a sudden, they want to pull out the mentally ill card. Well, you can't say that the guy's racist, okay? You can't blame all assault knives, right? Because again, that don't make too much sense. But again, you can blame all assault rifles, but you can't blame all assault knives, right? Again, you don't hear leftists coming out here marching and protesting to ban knives, okay? Or to take away knives from people. Ain't it funny how that works? But what they do is that they pull out the mental illness card to deflect from the obvious racial motivations, okay? Which again, if the narrative fit here, they'd say, no, you can't pull out the mental illness card because that deflects from the obvious racial motivations. Again, ain't it funny how that works? That's how the left likes to play games with the narrative here, right? Depending on if the narrative fits or not, you can pull the mental illness card, right? When they want to play up race, okay, aka when the suspect is white, oh, no, you can't play the mental illness card. Because it deflects from the fact that this man was white and he's racist, right? But when he's black, though, oh no, that's the first thing they do. Because they don't want you to talk about the fact that the guy was black and racist. Again, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Nearby transit police officers rushed over in less than a minute, and Hutchinson dropped the knife as soon as they arrived. The MTA said, well, I mean, he may have been mentally ill, but he wasn't suicidal, apparently, right? Because he knew what was up. Okay, as soon as law enforcement arrived, that if he kept going on, that would have been the end of him. Okay, quote, everyone was just running. A former MTA employee who witnessed a veteran MTA employee who witnessed the incident said Tuesday, calling the scene, quote, chaotic. Hutcherson was booked on felony counts of attempted murder, assault, criminal possession of a weapon, and misdemeanor endangering the welfare of a child, according to the MTA. He was awaiting arraignment in Manhattan criminal court on Tuesday. FDNY EMS took the girls, who sources said were staying at a nearby Midtown hotel, to Bellevue Hospital to be treated for their injuries. A hotel worker said the teens were released from the hospital later that day and are okay. Yeah, thank God for that. Thank God that they are okay. Hutcherson has 17 prior arrests on his rap sheet, sources said. He also has been classified as an emotionally disturbed person and prior brushes with police, according to the law enforcement sources. Yeah, so I think we have the gist of what happened here, right? We have the gist of this story. Now, again, imagine being from a country or a continent, South America, and you are traveling to New York City without actually reading up on New York City, right? Because this guy claims that he thought New York City was safe. And I'm like, well, even if you listen to New York City's own local news, they'll tell you, nah, this city ain't safe. Again, the only way you would think New York City is safe is if you watch MSNBC or CNN, where they're just not going to talk about New York City at all, right? And the crime and destruction and chaos going on in that city, okay? But again, I'm not sure how the hell does anybody think that New York City is safe after looking up New York City and what's going on. But apparently they thought it was safe, right? And they are shocked that this happened because they weren't expecting something like this to happen in a city like New York, right? Kind of crazy how that works. But again, as you can see here, we have a situation that doesn't fit the narrative. And because it doesn't fit the narrative, you're not going to see the type of coverage that it should get if the situation was reversed. But again, the good thing here is that this guy was caught. He was taken in. But the bad thing is that he'll probably be released, right? That he'll probably be released. And, you know, he probably will get a slap on the wrist because he shouldn't have been out on the streets in the first place. And if he had not gotten slapped on the wrist for his prior crimes, then these two girls would not have been stabbed. Again, there's just so much wrong with this story, and it tells you everything you need to know about why these liberal cities are an absolute disaster. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.